Welcome, viewers, to the Young at Heart Show. As we swing into spring, we thank you for joining us on our special March program, one which you will find interesting. So let the March winds blow as we look forward to that first robin. Since St. Patrick's Day is celebrated on March 17th, we are bringing you a bit of Ireland in the person of Chelmsford's own Tim McCoy. It can be a place of recreation for everybody. It's easy to go to and provides many services for senior citizens. Listen now as Annette chats with Marge Williams. Today we are interviewing 3 officials from the Buccaneers of the Merrimack Valley Drum and Bugle Corps. Interviewer is Annette Holzman.
Hi, my name is Laurie. For the next few minutes, we're going to take you away from where you are now and into a whole different world. A world by, for, and about kids. Where kids are professionals and where everybody's a star. We're the Buccaneers of Merrimack Valley, a drum and bugle corps. In some ways, the Buccaneers are similar to your school band or sports program, and some of the reasons why people are in it are the same. Performing, meeting people and traveling, and the pride of being part of a team. But anyone from the corps will tell you that it's much, much more. Much more than a music program. Much more than a youth activity. It's a complex world of its own, with its own values, its own leaders, and its own comedians. And it's a world that belongs to the members, to the kids. A world where kids have a chance to play a part, to make a difference, to be a somebody. Drum Corps people agree that the Corps makes its members greater than they could ever be on their own, by giving them a part to play. It's not up to your mother, your father, or your teacher here. It's up to you.
With me today, from the Buccaneers Drum and Bugle Corps, is Verne Woodward, who is a member of the Young and Heart and the Buccaneers treasurer. And along with him is John Mantville. He's director of the Buccaneers. And on my close right is Bill McDonald, the Corps publicity director. So I assume, Bill, it's going to be up to you to give us all the publicity on this.
Okay, I'll tell you a little bit of background about the organization. Really, the question is, well, the Buccaneers Drum and Bugle Corps, fine. What's the Buccaneers? What's the Drum and Bugle Corps? So on and so forth. And on the surface, it's very easy to say what the Buccaneers is. As we said, it's a drum and bugle corps, a marching musical group, non-profit youth organization, similar to a marching band. And that's what the drum corps is on the surface, but I really think that that's a very, very superficial definition of what the drum corps is, and it certainly doesn't tell you anything about what the drum corps is all about. There's really much more to it. The little phrase that I always use is there's a lot more to it than marching. What it really is for the kids that are in it, and I was in the drum corps, by the way, when I was in school, what it really is close friends. The kids spend so much time together, they become very, very close friends. All my friends, even today, are people who I marched with back then. Close friends, family, really. For the kids, it's a very, very social thing. A lot of travel, a lot of fun, and it's a place to learn, too. That's how I see the drum corps, and the bottom line is, as it was for me, a place to grow up and a place to learn. And I spent 5 years there, though, so you can see 5 crucial years of the growing process. It's really a family, friends, travel, and a place to grow up. But for purposes of this program, what we're going to talk about today, I'm sure that everybody realizes that behind any youth group, there's a lot of adult volunteers that make the organization run. And why we're on Young at Heart today is because in the case of the Buccaneers, many of our adult volunteers are senior retirees. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And the person who is best suited to introduce this is Verne Woodward, who is the treasurer of the drum corps.
All right, Verne, what about other seniors that work for them?
Well, I'm the treasurer, and that's quite a job in itself. We got a pretty $100,000 budget.
Really? Where do you get your money from?
Wherever we can get it.
That was a good...
But mostly Vegas nights, and of course, there's money coming in from parades.
Donations.
A few donations, not enough.
Yeah. Well,
And-
maybe this will hopefully give you some donations.
Then there's candy sales, and anything that'll bring in a buck.
What about you, John? What have you got to tell us about it?
Well, as far as the drum corps itself, it's, you know, as Bill says, a youth activity. We're always in need of the senior citizens, volunteer helpers. We could use people that can drive buses, trucks, sew, help out at any one of our fundraising functions, such as Vegas nights or fairs. We're always in need of more people.
Do you travel all around the state, or you're just local?
No, well, we do local shows here in around the Massachusetts area, but the highlight of the season is when we do take off on tour. We go out on 3 separate tours each year, which last approximately a week apiece. And that's what the kids really look forward to, is actually touring the country.
I see. Do their families help out with costuming, or do you have to buy all of that, or how does...
No, there is some cost to the children themselves. You would think with all the traveling that we do that it would be a heavy expense. But we do some heavy fundraising through the winter months, and we try and actually stockpile as much money as possible for the traveling, so that when it comes summertime and we have to assess the kids for some money, we hold it down to a very minimum amount.
I see.
In the past years, like I think in 1982, I think we charged the kids $40 per kid, and in 1983, I think we had to go up to $50 per kid. But that's for anywhere from 16 to 22 days on the road. It's
I
the
see.
meals, sleeping quarters, traveling fees, and so forth.
Bill, where do you keep everything?
This is a question that I've been wanting to address, especially since we're on a show here in Chelmsford, is where's the drum corps from, where are the kids from, and so on and so forth, which is really hard to describe sometimes. Okay, we are a regional group. We call ourselves the Buccaneers of Merrimack Valley, and when I'm forced to describe where we're from, I usually say that we're a regional group in the greater Lowell area, is how I usually describe it. Now, some of the people in the audience may remember that until something like 1980, the drum corps was known as the Buccaneers of Chelmsford, as opposed to Buccaneers of Merrimack Valley. And having this opportunity to speak to a Chelmsford audience, I'd like to explain why that change was made and just what it means. And the reason why it was made is really very simple. We were calling ourselves Buccaneer at Chelmsford, but the fact is that only a portion of the membership comes from Chelmsford, and we also have kids from every imaginable local community: Drake, Nashua, Tingsboro, Lowell, Westford, so on and so forth, Littleton, probably 12 or 15 communities in all. And that's one reason why we didn't want to call ourselves Buccaneers of Chelmsford anymore, why we wanted the regional approach. The other thing is just that, surprisingly, or maybe not so surprisingly, we used to run into people who'd say, gee, I'd love to be in the group, but I'm not from Chelmsford. And that knocks us over, you know, because we welcome anyone from anywhere. So that is why we went for the regional approach. And what I really want to stress is that it seems that a lot of people that I run into in the community seem to think that the Drum Corps left the community, that we left the town of Chelmsford. And this is what I really, the misconception that I really want to dispel is that Chelmsford doesn't have a drum corps. Chelmsford does very, very much have a drum corps. We still have a lot of kids from Chelmsford. And in fact, we usually spend our summers rehearsing in Chelmsford, at Chelmsford High School, for that matter. So, although the name may have changed, it doesn't impact on our relationship with the community.
I see. Are we going to see a tape of what the band does?
Yeah, we brought an excerpt of a videotape presentation that we made about the drum corps with us. It's a very brief excerpt from the beginning of this presentation. It says a few of the very basic things about being in the drum corps. It was designed for kids, so it's a little racy maybe, but...
Well, maybe we're on Young at Heart, so we should appreciate it too.
That's right.
But now, before we get into that, if anyone is interested in joining your group, who would they call? How would they get in touch?
I tell you, at the end of the excerpt, there is a list of names and phone numbers that they can reach. So you can just roll the excerpt, and that'll be it. And they can watch. The audience can watch for names and numbers at the end of the excerpt.
Well, we thank you very much for coming here today, and it was very nice to meet all of you, and I wish you great success with your project. Maybe today we'll help get some donations in and further your promises.
And volunteers.
Volunteers.
You need every time you need
so
volunteers. Drivers, I imagine, especially.
Right, and we're looking more towards the senior citizen group, because we've found that they're tremendous with the kids. They just seem to adapt right
Yes.
to them.
Well,
And
we've all
as
children
Verne will
once
tell
now.
you,
The kids themselves seem to pick up the senior citizens like their
Fine.
grandparents, and it works
Fine.
out real fine.
Well, that's great. Well, maybe now we can all sit back and see what this project is all about. And I hope you will all volunteer some services to them. And we thank you again today for this interview.
Thank you.